Is our Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, making the world a more dangerous place? Well, I happen to think he is, although he hasn't been in his position very long. Already in the short space of time that he has had in power, he has started making some awful decisions that I think are very much a prediction of what is to come over the next few years, and it makes me very worried about the security of Britain and the world. So take a look at this tweet from Lee Harris, just summarising what David Lammy has achieved whilst he has been in this position of Foreign Secretary. So he has reinstated funding for the Hamas-infested UNRWA. He's called for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu for war crimes. He's removed the Israeli hostage badge when meeting the Palestinian PM. Really? Honestly. He's banned arms exports to Israel shortly after Hamas executed 6 innocent hostages. That's what's controversially been in the news over the past couple of days. He made the arms exports announcement on the same day grieving Israelis are attending a funeral. I mean, how disrespectful and how out of touch can you be? Lee says, in just under 2 months, Lammy and this vile Labour Party have shamed this country. Disgraceful. I think that they have shamed this country, and not just have they embarrassed us, but they've made us, and they've made Israel, and they've made the West and democracies around the world, I think, less safe. I think that is the path that we are heading on when David Lammy is the Foreign Secretary of, arguably one of the most powerful countries in the world. Let's take a look back at what David Lammy had to say yesterday.
It is this government's legal duty to review export licences. Criteria 2C of the Strategic Export Licensing Criteria states that the government will not issue export licences if there is a clear risk that the items might be used to commit or facilitate serious violations of international humanitarian law. It is with regret that I inform the House today the assessment I have received leaves me unable to conclude anything other than that for certain UK arms exports to Israel, there does exist a clear risk that might be used to commit or facilitate a serious violation of international humanitarian law. I have informed my right honourable friend, the Business and Trade Secretary, and he is therefore today announcing the suspension of around 30 from a total of approximately 350 to Israel as required under the Export Controls Act. These include equipment that we assess is for use in the current conflict in Gaza, such as important components which go into military aircraft, including fighter aircraft, helicopters and drones, as well as items which facilitate ground targeting. For transparency, this government is publishing a summary of our assessment.
Now, I do not think that it is right for David Lammy, our Foreign Secretary, to be ridding the only democracy in the Middle East of its ability to defend itself from the barbaric, terrifying Hamas terrorists. But even if he is right, and we should be stripping Israel of arms exports from this country, can you choose a different time? Do you not think it was highly disrespectful to do that on the day that families are grieving, families are attending funerals for their family members that have been murdered? I mean, where is the respect? How out of touch is this man? I mean, it seems like the Labour Party, they don't really have any kind of PR team telling them what is common sense. I mean, you had Jess Phillips the other day thinking that it would be smart to publicly say that she got fast-tracked in the NHS because of her pro-Gaza stance. I mean, what an idiotic thing to do that was. I mean, they just are completely out of touch. And, these are families of human beings who have lost their lives. And someone was, I can't remember who it was pointing out the other day that in Israel, it's like everybody in Israel knows these hostages. They feel like they know them so well because they have been talked about so much. Every hostage, they know their hobbies, they know their careers, they know their interests, they know their family members. because it's been talked about so much, and so the loss of the lives of these 6 hostages was so tragic. And just a reminder as to how horrendous what Hamas did is they did not just take people hostage, keep them captive for 9 months, and then kill them. They decided to film them as well, to make the death of them even more painful for the families. This, which I'll show you now, which the family have given permission to release, is the video of one of the hostages who was sadly one of those 6 that were killed.
אני רוצה לפנות למשפחה היקרה שלי שאני כל כך אוהבת ואני מתגעגעת אליכם, אמא, אבא, שני, מאי, אני אוהבת אתכם כל כך ואני מתגעגעת אליכם.
There you go. Just so sad. Clearly a young girl who's been killed simply for the crime of being Jewish, right? And David Lammy thinks that it's all right to, on the day that those families are grieving, the parents and other family members of that young girl, to say that we're going to strip Israel of its ability to defend itself. And just going back to this, we'll get rid of the Lammy checklist. Let's have a look at what David Lammy had to say. He said, the UK condemns Hamas's appalling murder of 6 innocent hostages in Gaza in the strongest terms. I offer my deepest condolences to those grieving at this awful time. Hamas must release all of the hostages immediately, and all sides must accept the deal on the table to end this war. Now, see if you can spot what is wrong with that last sentence there. Well, Eylon Levy, the Israeli spokesman, who you may have heard of, he spotted it. The UK Foreign Secretary is contradicting himself. He says Hamas must release all the hostages immediately and calls on Hamas to accept a deal which it doesn't release all the hostages immediately. Utterly incoherent. Exactly. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. The Israelis have been shouted at by the world for not accepting deals to end the war that have been put forward. But the deals that keep on being put forward are not deals where Hamas has to release the hostages. So it's understandable why Israel has not accepted the deals that have been put together by other countries trying to form a ceasefire. Because they don't involve Hamas agreeing to release the hostages. Hamas could have released the hostages back in November in the first hostage deal. Hamas could end this war immediately by giving back all the hostages if they wanted to, but they haven't, have they? Right? So you don't have to think Israel is perfect, but can we at least put a little bit of responsibility on Hamas? Remember, Hamas are the ones that started this, and Hamas are the ones that have the ability to end it, okay? This is not all about Israel being the evil ones in the wrong. Hamas are evil. Hamas are terrorists. Hamas terrorized that Nova Festival. Hamas took the hostages and has not decided to come to an agreement to hand them all back and bring the fighting to an end. So they must hold at least some of the responsibility for the innocent deaths of people in Gaza. I'm Chloe Dobbs. This has been another video for Reason. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you don't miss any more updates on all the crazy stuff that is going on in the world. See you later, ladies and gents.